All right, diving right in today, we've got a mountain of advice, folks, from someone reflecting on their life at 40 life lessons to be exact, looking back at what they wish they'd known. This one, I have a feeling, is going to hit home for a lot of us.
Oh, absolutely. These reflections on life, success, figuring it all out, there's something in there that speaks to everyone, no matter what stage you're at.
And we're unpacking it all, LL. Everything from, well, honestly, taking care of yourself to how to choose the right partner to squeezing the most out her every single day. So strap in.
You know what really struck me reading through this is how central good health is. The source, they put it pretty bluntly, your health, that's your most valuable asset, period. Nothing else even comes close without it.
So yeah, you can have ambitions coming out of your ears, but if you don't have the energy to go for it, what's the point, right? I love how they said it. Energy, you got to earn that. It's not just handed to you. Makes you think, what could someone do, like right now, just one tiny thing, to be a little healthier?
So often we treat our health like it's an optional extra, like we'll get to it when we have the time. This is a wake-up call. It's not a side hustle, it's the foundation.
And that ties right into, get this, one of the most powerful lines. How you spend your days is how you spend your life. I mean, wow, right.
And that's the core of this whole idea of living intentionally, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're just reacting to whatever comes up all day, are you really in control? Are you doing the things that actually get you where you want to be long term?
Love this idea, too, that they talk about of shifting the focus less on the results and more on the habits you build. Like, think about Olympic athletes. They don't just show up out of nowhere. It's years of work every single day. You're saying that applies to anything you want to be great at.
Couldn't agree more. Those small, consistent things you do, day in and day out, that's where the magic happens. Think of those habits like little seeds. Eventually, they grow into a whole forest.
Okay, ready for a bit of tough love? The source doesn't hold back, says, no one's coming to save you. You got to step up and be the hero in your own life story. Whoa!
No kidding. It's like a challenge to all those stories we tell ourselves about why we aren't where we want to be. Waiting for permission, the perfect moment for someone to just hand us our dreams. This is about taking the reins.
And taking abstract right. They're huge on that. The only real failure, they say, is never trying at all. I'm thinking about all the times I've let fear hold me back.
Well, they share this story, really personal, about their mom passing away young, and it hits hard. Life's fragile, and holding back out of fear can lead to, well, a lot of regret. Makes you ask, what are we really so scared of? The failing or maybe the succeeding?
That one got to me, too. You really want to seize the day after hearing that. Make the calls, have the tough talks, take the leap.
Because the other side of fear, that's where the growth is. They actually say the hardest parts of life, those are what give you the wisdom to create the best parts. That those tough times are preparing you for what's to come.
Like contrast makes everything more vibrant, you know, your favorite book, movie, whatever, without the struggles, without overcoming stuff. Would it even be a good story?
Yeah. Exactly. It's seeing those hard times, as painful as they are, as something that shapes you, teaches you, makes you tougher.
Okay, ready for a curveball. This source is all about public speaking. It says everyone should develop those skills, not just for work, but for life in general.
It's interesting, right? We're in this digital world, and yet being able to talk to people directly, connect with them, articulate your thoughts, that's still a huge E. Pitching a business idea, telling your story, even just saying what you need in a relationship, communication is key.
But it's not just talking to others, right? They have this line, talk to yourself the same way you talk to someone you really care about. And that hit me hard because, let's be honest, we're often our own worst critics.
100%.
Yeah.
That voice inside your head, it has a huge impact on how you feel, how you see the world. If you're putting yourself down all the time, focusing on what's wrong, you're just creating more of that. But be kind to yourself, encourage yourself, that changes everything.
What if we treated ourselves with the same kindness we give to the people we love? Would we take more chances? Be easier on ourselves when we mess up? Go after bigger dreams?
It's a challenge to look at that inner critic and rewrite the script, right? What would it look like to be your own best friend? To have that unshakable belief in yourself?
Time to clean house, folks. The source is big on simplifying life. Getting rid of clutter, physical stuff, mental clutter, even digital clutter. All to make space for, well, more clarity and focus.
In a world where there's constant stimulation, info overload everywhere, it's so easy to feel scattered. Our attention's pulled in a million directions. This is about taking back control of your mind, finding some calm in the chaos.
This whole simplifying thing, it makes me think about Marie Kondo, right?
Yeah.
That whole spark joy idea. What if we use that for everything? Not just our stuff, but what we spend our time on, the people we hang out with, even our thoughts. If it's not helping you, not bringing you joy, maybe it's time to let it go.
It's about making space for what really matters.
Yeah.
Being deliberate with your time and energy. We're on autopilot so much. Just going through the motions, letting the day control us. This is a wake-up call to take charge, design a life that reflects what you care about.
And part of that is being present, truly present, when you're with people you care about. The source talks about how easy it is to be in the same room, but mentally you're somewhere else, on your phone, thinking about your to-do list.
Totally. They're all about that genuine connection. Give people your full attention when you're with them. Quality time isn't just being there physically, it's being engaged.
It's about creating those moments where you're truly connecting, listening, really seeing the other person. In a world with so many distractions, that kind of presence is a gift.
And it's a gift we can give ourselves, too. What if we brought that same presence to our work, our hobbies, even taking care of ourselves? Really immerse yourself in the experience. No multitasking, no worrying about what's next.
I love that. It's like hitting the pause button on all that mental chatter and just being right there in the moment.
And from that place of presence, you can make better choices about how to spend your time and energy.
Speaking of choices, they have some interesting thoughts on competition. Don't compare yourself to others, they say. Compete against your past self.
It's a small shift in thinking, but it makes a huge difference. When you're constantly comparing yourself to everyone else, you're looking for approval from the outside. But focus on being better than you were yesterday. That's about growth.
Takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Doesn't have to be perfect, just better than before.
Exactly. Celebrate those small wins, those little improvements that add up over time. Remember, you're on your own unique path, not running against anyone else.
And sometimes, on that path, you're going to get some criticism. The source's advice on that. Not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay.
It's about staying true to yourself and not letting the fear of judgment stop you from doing what you love.
We all want to be liked, fit in, but honestly, not everyone's going to get you, and that's all right.
It might even be a good sign. If you're not shaking things up a bit, if you're not challenging the status quo, maybe you're not pushing yourself enough.
You know, it's like they say, if you're not pissing someone off, you're probably not doing anything important.
Exactly. And speaking of doing important things, they talk about the power of knowing your priorities. It's key for productivity. Work backward from your goals, they say. Figure out what you need to be doing each day to get there.
It's about connecting the dots between what you're doing today and what you want to achieve in the future. Like having a GPS for your life, guiding you toward your destination.
And sometimes to reach that destination, you've got to take some risks. The source puts it out there. Not every risk taker wins, but every winner takes risks.
That'll get your heart racing. It's a call to action, right?
Yeah.
Step outside your comfort zone, embrace the unknown, be willing to fail, learn from it, and keep moving forward.
And they're big on this idea of channeling your energy towards the positive. What you focus on, that's what grows, they say. Cultivate a mindset of gratitude, abundance, instead of dwelling on negativity and lack.
It's like choosing to water the flowers instead of the weeds in your mental garden. What you feed grows.
Right. And speaking of mindset, they share a story about how even when things go wrong, it can open up new opportunities. Don't be afraid of detours, they say. Be open to new possibilities.
Trust the journey, even when it takes you off the map, right? Sometimes the greatest discoveries happen when you're willing to wander a little.
For sure. They also have a really powerful perspective on failure. Don't be afraid of failing. Be afraid of regret.
It's like they're saying, don't let the fear of falling keep you from soaring. Failure is feedback. It's a chance to learn, to grow, and to come back stronger.
Oh, and they share this beautiful Japanese saying, if you feel like you're losing everything, remember this. Trees lose their leaves every year, but they still stand tall, waiting for better days to come.
Wow, I love that. Even when things are tough, there's always potential for renewal. Just like those trees, we can weather the storms and come out even stronger.
And to get there often takes patience, persistence. The source says extraordinary results. Those come from doing ordinary things for an extraordinary amount of time. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
They talk about this idea of like acting from your future, not your past. That one really caught my attention. What's your take on that?
It's about visualizing the life you want, making choices today that match that vision, not letting your past experiences hold you back, but acting based on what you want to create.
So cool. It's like stepping into the shoes of your future self and asking, knowing I'll achieve my goals, what choices would I make today?
It's a powerful way to approach decisions, overcome those self-sabotaging habits that can hold us back.
And another big takeaway, level up your network. Spend time with people who inspire you, challenge you, people who believe in what you can do.
Who you surround yourself with that shapes your whole trajectory. Hanging out with people who are always complaining or playing it safe, that'll drag you down. But if you're with people who are driven, supportive, growth-minded, you'll find yourself rising to the occasion.
You've heard it before, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So choose wisely.
And sometimes leveling up means going deep, really diving into one specific thing you want to learn. The source has this idea they call the 100-hour rule. Spend 100 hours a year on something, they say, just 100, and you'll be in the top 5% of people in that field.
Wait, really? 100 hours, that's what, like less than 20 minutes a day? I'd probably spend more time than that scrolling on my phone. Yikes. It really puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
It's amazing what you can do with consistent effort, even a little bit. Imagine what you could learn, a new skill, a language, anything that fascinates you, if you put in just a little time each day. You could be coding websites, speaking fluent Spanish, or, I don't know, a total history buff, all within a year.
All right, you've officially motivated me. I'm thinking being an expert at something, it's not like this impossible thing. It's just about putting in the time.
And that brings us to another really powerful idea from the source. They say, you are the architect of your own destiny. It's all about how your thoughts shape your reality.
Like you're holding the blueprints to your own life, and every thought you have, every belief, that's a brick in the foundation.
Our thoughts become our beliefs lead to actions, and those actions, those create our experiences. So if you want to change your life, you got to start with your thoughts.
Which is, let's be real, easier said than done, right? How often do we get stuck in that negative self-talk, those thoughts that hold us back?
Takes practice for sure. It's about noticing those negative patterns and consciously making a different choice. What if you focused on what you have not what you lack? What if you believed in yourself instead of doubting yourself?
I love that shift.
Mm.
It's about remembering you have a choice, you can choose what to think, and in doing that, you can shape your reality.
And with that power comes responsibility, right? The Stars talks a lot about making a difference, not just a living.
It's about finding meaning in what you do, contributing to something bigger than yourself, leaving the world a little better than you found it.
And that might mean stepping outside your comfort zone, trying new things, embracing the unknown. They actually say, the paths you don't expect, those often lead to the most rewarding journeys.
Makes me think of that quote. The biggest danger for most people isn't aiming too high and missing, it's aiming too low and hitting the target. It's about pushing yourself, seeing what you're truly capable of.
Speaking of pushing yourself, let's talk about finances. This source is all about being smart with your money, investing it wisely. They warn against trying to impress people with fancy stuff and instead talk about building wealth over time, letting that compound interest work its magic.
Okay, full disclosure. Finances aren't really my thing, but even I know Warren Buffett. The source mentions him, how his patience, his consistency in investing led to, well, unbelievable wealth over time.
It's pretty amazing, right? Buffett made most of his fortune after he turned 50. Talk about playing the long game. It shows you don't have to be a financial genius. Just make smart choices early on and let that compound interest do its thing.
It's like planting a seed and letting it grow. You don't dig it up every day to see if it's sprouted yet. You trust the process, you nurture it, you give it time to flourish.
What a great analogy. And it's not just about money, is it? It's that same patience, that consistency in all areas of life, your relationships, your health, your personal growth. Those small, consistent actions over time, those lead to amazing results.
Since we're talking about growth and fulfillment, the source also encourages us to do the things that make us come alive. Tap into those passions, the things that light you up.
It's about creating a life that feels real, a life that's aligned with your values.
But let's be honest, life's not all sunshine and roses. There will be challenges, setbacks, disappointments along the way. The source talks about that, how life has its ups and downs, good seasons and bad seasons, like the weather.
It's about accepting those challenges are going to come, learning how to navigate them with grace, with resilience. Like they say, you can't control the weather, only how you prepare for it.
Love that analogy. Life throws storms at you, but you grab an umbrella and keep moving forward.
And that leads to their advice on not tying your happiness to things you can't control. Focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your reactions to whatever life throws your way.
Finding peace by letting go of what you can't change and focusing on what you can. It's a practice, isn't it?
It is, and part of that practice is learning to trust your intuition. The source keeps it simple. Listen to your heart.
Tuning into that inner voice, that gut feeling that can guide you even when it doesn't make sense logically.
And sometimes that means tuning out all the other voices, the opinions of people, especially the ones who haven't accomplished what you're aiming for.
Man, I wish I'd heard that years ago. How many times have I let people, even well-meaning people, steer me wrong? It's like asking for directions from someone who's never been to your destination.
Be picky about who you listen to. Who are the people who've walked the path you're on? Who inspires you? Who believes in you? Who challenges you to grow? Seek guidance from those people.
And finally, they talk about leadership, but starting with yourself. You can't lead others effectively, they say, if you're not leading yourself first.
It's about walking the walk, right? Taking care of yourself, making choices that reflect your values, being an example for others.
It's like they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you want to lead others, you got to fill your own cup first with self-compassion, integrity, and a sense of purpose. And here's the part that really gets me pumped. The source says it's never too late to make a change. No matter what, no matter where you're at, you can rewrite your story. Permission granted.
I love that energy. It's so empowering. It's like you're not stuck. You're not defined by what's happened before. You can create a different future, change course, go after something new, become the person you want to be.
Like they're saying, hey, not happy with how things are going. Change IT. It's your life. You're in control.
And it goes back to that idea, right? Acting from your future, not your past. Instead of letting those old experiences dictate your choices. Picture the life you want and make decisions that fit that vision.
So much of this comes down to mindset, doesn't it? Shifting from that feeling of scarcity to one of abundance, from fear to possibility, from self-doubt to, well, believing in yourself.
It really does. And that shift, it doesn't happen overnight. It's something you got to work at, show up for yourself every day, make choices that help you grow.
This deep dive has been incredible, honestly. We've covered so much, taking care of ourselves, dealing with the tough stuff, living with intention. I'm walking away feeling super inspired. What about you?
Me too. It's amazing how much wisdom they packed into these 40 lessons. There's something in here for everyone, no matter what stage of life you're in.
So if you had to boil it all down to one key takeaway, what would it be? What do you hope people listening really take to heart?
If I had to pick just one, I'd say remember this. You have the power to create the life you want. It starts with taking responsibility, having a positive mindset, and making choices that align with your values, what you really care about.
Beautifully said. And speaking of choices, the source ends with this really thought-provoking question. If you could send a message to your future self, what advice, what encouragement would you give?
Wow, what a question to sit with, right? It makes you think about what you truly want, what kind of future you're building, and what steps you can take right now to get there.
It's been amazing having you here for this deep dive. Really appreciate it. We hope you listening have found some new ideas, something to get excited about, maybe even a little nudge to go after what you really want. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and remember, you've got this.